Hello children, once again welcome back to our class. So what did we know in the story of microorganisms part 1? I forgot to mention this. This is part 1. The story of microorganisms part 1, we learnt about Antony van Leeuwenhoek and how he discovered microorganisms and first named them as animalcules, and what are the different types of microorganisms that we are going to learn about. We learnt. Okay, what are they? In bacteria, coccus bacteria, bacillus bacteria, and then fungus, penicillium, rhizopus, yeast, and aspergillus. Okay, and then spirulina, spirogyra, diatom, chlamydomonas. These are examples of algae. If you notice, they are almost autotrophic in nature, except one or two here and there. And protozoa, they are all aquatic in nature, and they are almost parasites. Almost all of them are parasites and not of much use to us. Microarthropods are also aquatic and not aquatic. They are also parasitic in nature. Cyclops, Daphnia, and then scabies mite, and then this is eyelash mite. Now let us see coccus. Coccus, I told you, they are round in shape. These bacteria are present round in shape. By saying, when you are observing a slide of bacteria, if you notice round ones, then it is some kind of coccus. Okay. When you observe rod shaped bacteria, then it is bacillus. And main example that we usually come across bacillus type of bacteria is lactobacillus bacteria. Lactobacillus, which is useful. And another important thing that we need to know about bacteria is that not just about bacteria, microorganisms are present everywhere. They are in soil, they are in water, they are in air, they are present on our body or inside our body also. Some of them are useful microorganisms, some of them are harmful microorganisms, some of them are just like that. And in this present situation, one important thing you might have noticed that I didn't mention about, or the textbook didn't tell till now, is about virus. We are talking about virus. Why it is not mentioned in microorganisms as of now is because even now virus cannot be treated as living thing. It is because it is a particle when it is in the air. When it comes in contact with a living being only, it becomes living. If it is not in, suppose it is on the door, on the wood, it is non-living being, because wood is what? Non-living thing. So if virus is there on the wood, it is again non-living thing. Suppose the virus comes and falls on a cat or a mice or something, because they are living, then it becomes a living thing. It exists like living as well as non-living. As per the surface it is there on. So that's why we call it as a particle. We call it as a particle. We don't call it as a living organisms. That's why when we are talking about story of microorganisms, we discussed about 5 different microorganisms, but we did not discuss about virus. But in our lesson we are going to learn more about virus. Till then, now let us see how do we observe the virus, microorganisms. Just because it is told in the textbook, should we accept? No need like that. You can observe them under the microscope also. There are many microorganisms which we can observe under microscope. And how do we observe it under the microscope? First activity they mentioned in our lesson is go near a pond or a tank, water tank. Because it is a water tank, it will be continuously filled with water. That means the surface of the tank, if you put your hand, how will it be? Slimy. It will be a slimy, green, mossy kind of thing. Just scrape a little bit of that and then put it on a slide, just a pinch of it, we put it on slide. And the usual way of how to prepare a slide, we learned in our previous lessons now how to prepare slides. Then prepare a slide, observe it under the microscope, you will see innumerable activity going on. That means lot of you can observe. If it is green in color, you can observe Spirogera, you can observe Chlamydomonas, you can observe Spirulina, you can observe some of the bacteria. In water, bacteria also will be there, right? And then you can observe fungi. Like that, there are many things. If you are fortunate enough, you can observe amoeba. Many things you can observe in that small speck of thing that you put on a slide and watching under the microscope. So that is one thing. Now activity 2. Here we want to observe fungi. We want to observe fungi. What do we need to do? Observe fungi. Take a slice of bread. Take a slice of bread. Sprinkle just a few drops of water on that. Put it in a polythene cover. Prick a few holes, just 3 or 4 holes to that, and then cover the cover with a rubber band, and then take the bread piece along with that cover and put it in a dark corner, closed place, where the condition should be warm, dark, warm and dark. Moist, already you sprinkled a few drops of water on the bread, no? So it is moist. Now warm, dark, moist, leave it like that for 2-3 days and then take the bread out and observe. You observe cloudy things here, black and white cloudy things. Just very carefully, don't try to breathe it, because fungal infections are really scary ones. Once you get fungal infection, to get removed from that, it is very difficult. It is really irritating. So be careful, don't breathe it, don't go near that, don't touch with your fingers directly. Use gloves or something, and then carefully with the help of a needle, take just a speck of it, put it on a drop of water on the slide, cover it with a cover slip and observe it under the microscope. You observe bread mold. You observe bread mold. It looks so beautiful, you know. It shows the presence of fungus on spoiled food. It shows the presence of fungus on spoiled food. So that is how you can observe fungus. And then, is that it? Is there no other example? If you go to any bakery shop, ask for yeast powder, they'll give. It will be brownish in color, light brown colored powder they'll give. Just use just a few grains of it in this much of dough. With wheat flour, you prepare a dough of this much, and then mix the yeast in that, knead it properly, and then make it into a nice ball and measure the size of the ball. And now put it in a dish, cover it with a cloth and leave it and rest it for half an hour or 1 hour. And then you go and observe. Now before you touch it, you measure it with a measure it once again. You notice that the dimension of the ball increased, sometimes double, sometimes tripled also. And then you try to open it, you see so much of air gaps in that. What does it mean? Yeast helped it to ferment. Yeast, it multiplies fast. Then how can you observe it under the microscope? Let us think later, right? So that is activity 2, how to observe fungi in the lab under a microscope. That is activity 2. Now observing bacteria. How do we observe bacteria? To observe bacteria, this is fungus, children. To observe bacteria, we told you, we already discussed, no, that lactobacillus bacteria is present in what? It turns milk into curd. So easiest thing which is available at home is, Joy, it fell down. So let us take a drop of buttermilk. What do we need here? We need a drop of buttermilk, because lactobacillus bacteria helps milk to turn into curd overnight. Now take a drop of buttermilk and put it on a clean glass slide. And what do we need to do? For 2 to 3 seconds, heat the slide. not where the buttermilk is there. Suppose you put a drop of buttermilk here, heat the slide just for 2 or 3 seconds. Just 2 or 3 seconds you heat it, and then what happens is the smear of buttermilk will get dried up. Fine. And now to that what you need to add is crystal violet. Heat first 2 to 3 seconds and then add crystal violet. Crystal violet. What is crystal violet? Crystal violet is a colored stain, purple colored. Violet means nothing but purple color. Okay. And then add and allow it to rest for 10 seconds. Why? It has to absorb that. For that reason, allow it to rest for 10 to 1 minute, 60 seconds. Allow it to rest for 60 seconds. After 1 minute, now it is ready for observing under the microscope. When you observe it under the microscope, you notice clear lactobacillus bacteria. I told you, no, bacillus is rod shaped. When you observe that in milk, buttermilk, it means that lactobacillus bacteria is present. So what else do we know about bacteria? First thing that we need to know about bacteria is in 1997, Schulz, actually Schulz, not Schulz, Schulz, a very famous scientist, he found out one bacteria which is very big and which can be seen with our naked eye. It is 0.75 mm big. We can see directly with our naked eye. He named it as Thea margarita namibiensis. Thea margarita namibiensis. What did he name it as? Like suppose you find out a new species, no, you get a chance to name it. So here Schulz, Heed N. Schulz. What is his name? Heed N. Schulz. He is a scientist in 1997. Very recently, children. Very recently, he discovered a bacteria which can be seen with our naked eye. And there is smallest bacteria also present. Now let us know more about bacteria. Bacteria are present in our gut, children, in our digestive system. It's very important that their presence is there. In their absence, our digestive system malfunctions. That means bacteria are useful for us. And just now what did we know? It turns milk to curd. Like that, that means bacteria are useful for us. And not only that, there are many bacteria from which we make medicines. So bacteria are useful for us. Where are these bacteria present? They are present in soil, they are present in air, they are present in water, they are present everywhere. They can survive in the hottest temperatures and coolest temperatures. They are present on our body, inside our body. Thousands and millions of bacteria are present in your underarms only, children. So that's the reason we need to keep our body always clean. We need to hygiene, body hygiene is very important. See, for virus also, the present COVID virus, the important thing to keep you immune from being attacked by the virus is hygiene. Keep yourself clean and you are always safe. Thank you.